Hey YouTube, guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna talk about a knife. Of course that's what we're gonna do. That's a silly question, isn't it? So if you happen to hear screaming in the background, no, my wife is not abusing my daughter. My daughter has got some pretty high level stretching and flexibility stuff that she has got to do for her ice skating, and it's painful. And it's just something that we have to do every day, and I hate seeing it, but that's what you may hear because it's kind of warm today, so I'm not going to close the door. So I kind of showed you guys that this was going to be coming, and said we were going to talk about this, and I want to get it here. We are going to talk about the ADV Tack Butcher, and this is a custom Tack Butcher, circuit 2015. So the custom Tack Butchers were a little bit nicer fit and finish than the mid-tech ones. So this is, I really like this. It makes me I feel like a pirate. I want to break stuff when I've got this knife in my hand. It's big, it's beefy, it's huge. It's got all these weird angles and shapes to it, but surprisingly, as much as I've played around with this, I have to say, let me close that door. I have to say that there's not really a lot of hot spots. I looked at it and I'm like, oh, that pocket clip's just gonna kill the hand. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. My friend Nico and I were looking at this the other night, and we were like, wow, that's really, for as goofy and screwed up as that pocket clip is, it sits in an area of your hand where it's really not digging in, not like that FU clip on the DOC had been. It really is a pretty comfortable design to work with, and I did not do, this is a custom knife, I didn't do any real cutting with this, but I mean, you can look at it and see big wear and cliff blade. It's huge wear and cliff blade on this, but that design is an amazing design for a work knife. I've used it for some small stuff, and I could see it being a really good utility, but I wouldn't take it really. I don't know how much really don't know how much these were. I may post it in the remarks after. Thanks. But yeah, all in all, and for as big and bulky and weird looking as it is, I said it looked like a big angry falcon. It's grown on me, and I kind of find it attractive, and it's one of those things that I didn't think that I would find aesthetically as pleasing as I do. The longer I've had it since, borrowed this from Chris Williamson at Fair and Fortune. I borrowed this from him. This is his personal. I borrowed it Friday afternoon, and so I've carried it. I'm not gonna lie. Now here we're gonna get into some of the stuff that is the negative. It's not easy to carry. That's the downside. It is really not easy to carry, but it's got really good action. It's nice and it's smooth. Fit and finish on it. Let's look at the fit and finish. It's got fingerprints on it, but that polished S35 VN blade, titanium hardware, titanium scales, carbon fiber. The lock scale is got, it's pretty much flat. The cutout here, it's got some contrast where it's obvious it's been milled and then bead blasted or media blasted. The standoffs they look blue to you, they're actually purple. The ones that I saw originally, I don't know when they changed. Some of the videos I looked up didn't have the hardened steel insert on a lock bar, but this one does. I don't know if maybe started changing the process. Now, that all being said, it's a really nice knife. It's got a spot back here that I would imagine you could use as a glass breaker if you needed to. titanium backspacer. So now let's talk about the flip side of it. I don't think I could carry this. I really don't. And the reason being is there's just too many things that make it difficult to carry. Now, while it doesn't have hot spots, I'm not gonna lie to you, that frickin' hurts your finger. If you are trying to do it any other way, you get your finger up on that corner and it hurts, and it's got a lot of sharp angles. Pocket clip, like I said, the pocket clip really isn't a hot spot in your hand. However, if you look, it's serrated here and it sits in your pocket and it chews your pants up. I had my jeans, there's all kinds of little lint just all over the place when I would pull it out of my pocket, and I was like, oh, I'm tearing these pants up. So really this kind of got carried down in my pocket, and then it sits like this, and that is a brick. I'm not gonna lie to you, the only knife that I've had that's been as bulky as this one that has come in was that one that I did the review on, the great big Direware. So that's the kind of, you know, we're talking that kind of oversized on some of that stuff. That blade is massive. But all in all, it's really not that heavy. It really isn't. And you would think, looking at that blade, to be really tip heavy. It's not. It's got a pretty good balance. That right there. Another thing that irritates me sometimes when knife makers do it. Brought this one out too. One of the reasons I don't carry my Reat as often as I had been, because I realized that bothers me. It catches your pocket material, and if you're trying to pull that out, if you need that in a hurry, and you're trying to pull that knife out of your pocket, and you get caught on that, and it's a fairly sharp angle right there, and just it catches, and it adds to the tearing up of your pockets. And so I said, now that I wear big boy grown-up clothes to work every day, wearing slacks and a dress shirt, and this isn't something you could carry, I don't think, in a pair of slacks. It doesn't deploy real well from the pocket. The action, while I said it is smooth, if you get a good purchase on it, sometimes it won't. Well, that was after I'd used it to cut up some stuff, and then I had washed it out and hadn't re-oiled it. It was a little bit that it didn't want to deploy. But the grind on it, really well done. I like the contrast. You got some satin here, and then more of a polish down in this fuller. Not a blood groove, it's a fuller. If you know anything about Japanese swords, they were not for, it's like, oh, it's for the vacuum when you pull. No, that's not what it's for. A fuller on a blade, on a large blade, all it does is reduce the weight, but not reduce the strength. So it allows you to reduce a good chunk of the weight without reducing the structural integrity of the blade. Japanese swords have had them for years, and then it also gives you some auditory feedback. I took Japanese martial arts. It gives you auditory feedback, so you can hear if it's a double bohei, which is a fuller on both sides, you, like this has, you get an audible feedback, and you can hear whether it's one side or the other, and you can figure out whether you've got your angle right as you're drawing that blade down across. But it's a weight reduction. The audible feedback is just it's a bonus. Really, really, really straight ground blade, but then we get into one of the reasons that I sharpen knives. And I'm gonna flip this camera around so we can get a look at it, and you can maybe I can get in on it on the macro level. I don't think you'd ever be able to see it here. I had somebody ask me, why do I sharpen knives straight from the factory? So we'll turn this around and let you get a look at one of the reasons why. But yeah, all in all, it's a really good knife. But remember me talking in my last video and said, you know, we're gonna talk about it because my thumb's already sore. See that down in there on that lock bar? The lock tension on this is fairly stiff. It really is. You can see it drops in on that fairly thick blade stock about 50%, about 40, 50%. And it's a lot of tension on that lock bar. And when you are disengaging a lock, it digs into your thumb. And it gets, like, if you're playing with it very much, because it is fun to play with, your thumb will get sore. It really will. So is it a nice knife? Do I think it's a beautiful knife? In its own way, yes. Do I think it's practical? No, not really. I don't think that was the point of this knife, was not to be practical. It's to be over the top and kind of cool. And I dig it. I dig the contrast between the satin and then the blasted and then the carbon fiber and then the fairly polished S35 VN. S35 VN, not my favorite steel, but I didn't sharpen this. I don't know what it takes edge retention wise, how it holds an edge. But I do know that different brands, S35 VN, different knife brands, hold an edge differently. Like I said, my WE 601 definitely holds an edge better than my Sebenza, and it's S35 VN, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm 100% sure that it's the heat treat. So, you know, it's like this knife in M390 steel, which is basically 20 CV, does not hold an edge anywhere near as well as my Archbishop, which is basically the same metal. It's 20 CV, and it's definitely a heat treat thing. And then my Archbishop doesn't hold an edge as well as my neck knife that I made out of 20 CV that I heat treated with that insane double heat treat that Elliot taught me how to do there at the shop. So, all right, flip this around and I'm gonna show you the edge on this, and we're gonna get into why I sharpen a brand new knife a lot of times. All right, hang on just a second, guys. All right, guys, I know the light's not optimal here, but we're gonna try and get in here and see if you can see what I'm looking. See that right there? See how it's really just kind of serrated looking? And like, it's really uniform. I would imagine that it just got a trip on a belt grinder. Just on a fine belt, and don't get me wrong, it is sharp, but that edge is just a little bit coarse for the way I would want it. Look at how polished that fuller is. Yeah, you can get in here close and take a look. There's a lot of really nice features on this knife. Everything is polished. The fit and finish on this knife is really, really awesome. There's fingerprints and stuff on it, but it's obviously time has been taken to polish those areas, and the chamfers. Chamfers are polished as well. Like I said, I got a lot of fingerprints on that titanium. Anodized hardware. Satin finish here. The pocket clip, like I said, in the hand, it's not uncomfortable, but you can see that is just a beast of a knife. It's big. I do like the standoffs for the pocket clip. It's actually pretty cool. This, I would say, Andrew DeVillers in future, maybe in retrospect, that was not such a good idea. So, but yeah, I would have liked to have seen a bigger sharpening choil, maybe come out a little bit, and you can kind of see how that ramps up right there at how that edge ramps up. That's where that blade starts to get thick down here at the ricasso. And that's one of the things that I say about knives when they put in a sharpening notch and they don't bring them out far enough this way, and then you have your ricasso or your plunge, and then there's still a thickening here at the plunge, and then that's when you get that area where it sweeps up a little bit, because the material is actually a lot thicker in that area here than it is right here. So I actually had someone send me a text one time after watching one of my videos, said it told me I needed to get a manicure. But yeah, no, that's pretty much the look at the up close look at this. So we're gonna flip this back around and I'll shut this down for you guys. So yeah, basically that's just the gist of it. I just really wanted to get this out there, and I want to get this back up to the shop. I'm trying to go up tomorrow and finish one of my fixed blades after I finish work. go up for a couple hours because my wife and kid will not be back until late. So I figure I've got some time. While I'm on here, I thought I'd mention it. If there's any of you out there that are insanely wealthy that would like to sponsor my daughter for ice skating here in San Diego, let me know, because we're reaching a point rapidly where she has reached a level of ice skating where she is going to need to continue. It's going to be almost prohibitively expensive. So if anyone knows of anyone, just let me know, or knows how this works. I've never done it before. So and my Patreon, of course, I was thinking about it. The goal that I set, if every one of my subscribers donated $1 a month, we would pretty much hit my goal every month and allow me the income coming in for the channel. I'm not even trying to make income for me yet on this. This would just be for the channel. I could get enough that every month or so, I would be able to purchase an item and then flip that money back into the channel and get something and review it, and then do some giveaways if I needed to or wanted to. Some of those items would be giveaway stuff to go to you guys. I found out you can't do giveaways on your Patreon. Found that out. However, I can do a giveaway here for my Patreon stuff. There is going to be another giveaway. I have yet to decide what knife it's going to be. But you guys are going to get a knife, and it's just going to be a random raffle. So it's going to be done kind of the way I've seen other people do it, where you have a certain period of time to comment in the comments, and then each person will be given a number and then use a random number generator, and that person's going to get one of my knives. BJ is getting one of my neck knives. I actually got it cut out, but like I said, I have to order the heat treat foil. And considering I really haven't made any money in like a month, except for sharpening, because it takes a while to build your business when you start doing this insurance stuff, I haven't ordered any heat treat foil, so I really got as far as the rough cutout for the giveaway knife for BJ, who is the number 500 subscriber. I may do another neck knife and do it kind of crazy. I may do one of my fixed blade knives, the bigger ones that I decided I was going to call the Hornet. So all in all, you know, everything's going well. We went from 400 subscribers a month ago to 500 a few days ago, and now I'm at 530. So it seems like it's rapidly picking up. So yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Like I said, the Patreon thing would be great. The first person was Caleb, one of my viewers. Caleb donated $5 a month to the Patreon, so thank you, Caleb. He's one of my Instagram followers. He's been one of my YouTube followers for a while now, and I send him random crap through text messages every once in a while. So we text back and forth. He actually bought one of my neck knives. He's an MMA fighter. Yeah, pretty cool that I get to interact with these people. And I have a subscriber named Lars that just subscribed from the Netherlands. So I have international subscribers. I actually have 2 people from the Netherlands. I have a guy from Germany and someone from Belarus that I know of that have emailed me and said where they were subscribing from. So not to make this video run on forever long or anything, but I just wanted to kind of give a shout out to my first Patreon, Caleb, and to some of the subscribers that have kicked over. I saw that I just had 2 new subscribers earlier today, but I was working. I was making phone calls, doing cold calls, and reaching out to businesses and trying to set appointments. So, well, I was in the field as well, but tomorrow I'm gonna be in the field all day tomorrow, and I got some knives coming from Chris back east. I anodized his knife for him here not too long ago, and resharpened it. It came out really well. I am doing some anodizing to a point. I do have that spa service, the spa treatment for certain knives. There's not all knives. There's some knives I just wouldn't want to take apart necessarily, depending on the price point, unless you really insist. Some knives you void the warranty. Microtex. I'm not doing Microtex anymore. I lost some of the tools somehow, and they're expensive, and I don't want to replace them. So I will not be doing that for Microtex. Plus, they're just really a pain and a bear to take apart. A lot of times you can just hose them down and clean them out. As a matter of fact, most knives you can. There's only a few knives, this being one of them, that for some reason I can't get it cleaned out. And I think it's because it's ceramic bearings and they're down in tight in that plastic bearing race. They're captured in a small plastic race, and you can't really, there's no real gap in there that you could blow it out or clean it out like you get with the thrust bearings that like these guys use, like Andrew DeVillers used and Farron Forge uses, ZT uses them. They're just easier to use. And then this multi-row bearing system just it collects gunk. So I will do that for specific knives. Make sure you ask me before you just up and send a knife. So, all right, guys, that's it. You guys have a good, happy Monday, and I will talk to you later.